Hey, welcome to X Venture here live on Twitch TV. Actually, that's a good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to X Venture here live on Twitch TV. Forza Spec Racing Series season number 50, week number 3 about to get underway. And anytime, some of you already know this. Anytime we've got Laguna Seca on the schedule, I'm happy. Laguna Seca, I think it's a great track. And they're going to take the A-Class shootout here in Season 50, where they have 10 cars to choose from, minus the 4 vehicles they've already raced in the first 4 races here of the season. Take them out on the track for 20 laps of racing. First, we'll have the qualifying session. Those who qualify with the fastest lap will be up front in the beginning of the grid, and those a little bit slower toward the back. And then we also have the test track here this evening. And this is not the Top Gear test track, in case you're wondering. Not the Top Gear test track in Forza Motorsport, but rather the airport test track here. 28 laps set for that one. So it's going to be an exciting night. Buckle in. Sit back, relax. Hopefully you've got your comfy clothes on. Maybe you've got some snackies, something to drink, and enjoy the ride. HTM, oh my gosh, I have not said this Twitch name in forever. HTM Booty Juice has entered the chat. Glad to finally catch a stream. Hope all is well with you and the viewers. Thank you very much, HTM. Likewise. SDR Onion here as well, and Slow Motion Fire earlier on in the broadcast. I'm Dustin Moore, and I know we're very close to the top of the hour here, so without further ado, let's really turn our attention not to this, but rather this, the standings here, coming out of week number 2, and a lot of you might think, well, LS Subaru, Oops Arena, they had 97 points, they had 93 points. I saw them race in week number 2, why don't they have more? This is the championship point total, so this is with each driver's worst week deducted, all right? So LS Subaru, Oops Arena, both picking up a victory there in week number 1. It was AMS Storm and Modern Weapon. All the names that you see there in gold have a victory here in season number 50 through the first 4 races. And that's 4 gold names highlighted there. So that means 1 driver, 1 victory, not more than that, which is different. We haven't had this in many, many seasons here. Usually heading into week 3, LS Subaru has 3 or 4 victories to his name. Not the case here in season 50, and you can attribute that to the fact that, again, our drivers have 10 vehicles to pick from. All 10 vehicles come from past years, past seasons, well, past years, but more importantly, past seasons here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. And they can only race one of those 10 cars once. There are 9 total races in a season, therefore they can use 9 of the 10 cars. 1 they'll just shelve, put off to the side, and not use at all. But this is where we stand heading into tonight's action. So I'm pumped. I'm pumped. I hope you all there watching on Twitch, or if you're watching on demand on Twitch or on demand on YouTube, I hope you all are excited for the action here on this week's duo of events, because this could have significant impacts on the championship run here in the remaining 2 weeks after tonight. All right. Speaking of after tonight, let's go ahead and look at that schedule. Put together beautifully, by the way. I don't think I gave credit last Tuesday. I most certainly should. CUDA93 here with the season 50 schedule slate. It's purty. We have Daytona and Lime Rock in our rear view mirror. Tonight we've got Laguna Seca, as I mentioned, 20 laps, and then 28 laps around the test track. You can see in there, small font, if you got a screen big enough to see it, right at the wall, left through the garage, right through the warehouse, so the drivers have some instructions to abide by there for that race. That'll be after our Laguna Seca one here, first up in the evening. The next week, week number 4, it is a, we'll just call it Oktoberfest in January. Or will it be February? Wait, hold on. Is there another Tuesday left in the month? There is. It's the last Tuesday. It's the last day of the month. Next Tuesday, the 31st of January. It'll be Oktoberfest in January. I'll call it now. The Nürburgring GP and the Nordschleife will be the two tracks visited. And then in our fifth and final week, our ninth and final race of the season, Circuit of the Americas down there in Austin, Texas. 39 laps. That's the endurance race. It's going to be a whole heck of a lot of fun. And those of you who are subscribers to the channel, you can pick a corner of Circuit of the Americas and name it. It's one of the perks that you get for being a subscriber here to XVenture during the Forza Spec Racing Series. And sadly, I just realized as I was beginning to prep for today's broadcast, just before I pushed the go live button, I realized that the form is not as updated as I was supposed to make it. So I will have to update that form this evening after the stream, and I will do that right after the stream, and I'll have the link available. I'll probably drop it over in the FM4 Discord, and I know a lot of you who are subscribed to the channel are not necessarily over there, but I will have that link for you next Tuesday. I will have the link available for you on Friday when I stream. I'll have the link available on Sunday when I stream. So if you catch me on Friday or Sunday and say, hey, Dustin, I would really love to be able to name one of the corners out there at Circuit of the Americas. I'm a subscriber. Where's the form? I will provide you the link. All right? Okie doke. So my bad. I didn't mean to have that ready here before the beginning of the broadcast, but I totally dropped the ball on that. My apologies to all you very loyal and generous subscribers. Bored as Ghost! Speaking of which, 1 month away from 24 months subscribed, coming in 23 months, Born as Ghost. Nice! Born as Ghost, thank you so much for the continued support here of XVenture on Twitch. And Born, I will, like I said, I will get that link available. So if you want to name one of the corners out at Circuit of the Americas, so that as the drivers are going around, to include yourself, I can, whatever corner name you give it, I will call it. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with the channel and kind of how we run things here on Tuesdays, I try to keep it family friendly because we've got viewers possibly of all ages that are just interested in motorsports, interested in Forza, who are tuning in. Name the corner accordingly, all right? Let's try to keep it PG-13. Yeah? We good with that? All right. I'll get that link available here this evening. I'll get it over on the FM4 Discord. And I promise, for those of you who tune in on Friday, Sunday, or next Tuesday, it will be available. All right? Cool. All right, Slow Motion Fire in the chat has let me know that we are all ready to go for qualifying the 3 laps out here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. And yes, I do call it Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca because here in Forza Motorsport 7, that is what it is called. When the new Forza Motorsport drops, oh boy, we got a little bit of fun to talk about there. When the new Forza Motorsport title drops, I will call it by its new name, the WeatherTech Raceway at Laguna Seca. Look at this skybox. A little late afternoon view here, which is really weird that we don't have a nighttime for Laguna Seca because they run. There's a 24-hour event that happens out here, right? That the WEC does. And yet we do not have a 24-hour or a nighttime version of Laguna Seca. That's a bummer. That should all be fixed with the new Forza title coming out as they introduce day-night transitions and weather at all facilities. Here comes Enraged Barney down the corkscrew into the left-hander here. Wide sweeping left-hander as you head slightly downhill, getting ready for the S's here before you charge toward the final sharp left-hander. Like a 45-degree turn here coming up And pit lane entry off to your left-hand side. We'll see if anybody has to deal with pit lane here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. We saw it out at Daytona. We saw some pit strategy or pit stops out at Lime Rock. I don't think it was because there was a need for it. Well, there was a need for it. If you damaged your vehicle, there goes Enraged Barney sliding off the track. Let's go ahead and move to Cratrium, who currently, as of right now, has the top qualifying time at a 136.613, driving the VW Scirocco R. Also looking very understeery there, heading into the Andretti hairpin, and just nearly was out in the kitty litter as well. Now Fear the Fun with a 135.9 top time. Let's go to Fear the Fun. Fear the Fun driving here in race number 5 of season 50. There it is. Oh, going with the Honda NSX-R. Now, the NSX-R is the one single vehicle of 10. Even though this is an A-Class shootout, it comes in slightly above A-Class at S7, or excuse me, S. Oh gosh, I'm forgetting what the performance index is. It comes in just barely at S-Class. And so it does provide you a little bit of an advantage. Use it wisely. Fear the Fun going with it here, Laguna Seca. When we talked to LS Subaru last week, LS Subaru thought for sure that the NSX, well, I shouldn't say would be a favorite here at Laguna Seca, but Subaru did imply that perhaps Laguna Seca would be a great track to run the NSX-R. Here comes Audrex with the RS500. The RS500 here from season 31 of FM4. 363 horsepower, 299 foot-pounds of torque, weighing in at 2,367 pounds. And it wears the AMD Ryzen livery. That's the one that we've come accustomed to for Audrex. Let's go to LS Subaru. Top qualifying time now in that Scirocco R, heading up the Rahal Straight underneath the Pepsi signage. Oh, I could go for a Pepsi right now. A nice cold Pepsi. Down the corkscrew, looking very, very tidy there is Subaru. Trying to understand the livery there. It looks like Victory Gin. I think so. And into the left-hander for the final time here. The third and final qualifying lap out at Laguna Seca here for race number 5. And across the line, LS Subaru is going to stick it with a 132.745. Let's go to Oof Serena. Oof Serena with the BMW M5 Coupe. Excuse me, not the M5, the M2. The M2 from season 29. It is the 2016 BMW M2 Coupe. 441 horsepower with nearly an identical amount of torque at 447, weighing in at 3150 is the M2. And with just 3 more drivers to cross the line, we'll take a look here at the qualifying times. Joe Beardy also in the Honda NSX-R. And there we go. That is the end of qualifying. Take a look at the times. Try to get a feel for where everybody finished here. Just one dirty qualifying time. That comes from Cuda93 at 134.3. A 133.7 for Enraged Barney. LS Subaru with the pole sitting time of 132.7. Cratrium at 133.4. A 133.3 there for Joe Beardy, who has, like I said, that NSX, and it's a 708. I thought it started with a 7, but then I started to question myself. It is an S708 the Honda NSXs. So your one opportunity here in the season to put that car to use and try to eke out some additional points. Joe Beardy looking to be in row number, I want to say that's good enough for row number 2. Perhaps. Don't hold me to it. Slow motion fired at 135.6, a 139.1 there for Modern Weapon, who picked up a victory in week number 2. Oops Arena at 133.6. Fear the Fun in the NSX at a 132.7. That should be good enough for, I believe, row number 1, P2. A 134.3 for Patches Riley. Drex with a 133.8 in that RS500. Born as Ghost with the Scirocco R at 135.6. Cuda 93, as I mentioned, driving the NSX, getting that dirty lap. And actually, Onion. I said Cuda 93, the only one with the dirty qualifying time. Onion there as well with a 136.2. Midnight Rider driving the Aston Martin V8 Vantage at a 139.8. SDR Onion says, I have a major skill issue. Well, guess what, Onion? And I know you already know this, but for anybody who's watching at home, the Forza Spec Racing Series is the perfect community organized league for you to jump in and participate regardless of your skill. It doesn't matter. And I know you're sitting there thinking, Dustin, you're wrong. It's got to matter, right? There's no way. Like, these organized leagues, it's very competitive. It's uber competitive. There's no way I could possibly have fun if I'm not vying for the championship. I assure you, you are wrong. You should definitely participate in FM4, regardless of your skill level, incrementally, with time, season after season, race after race. I promise you, you will get better. And as we head into the new Forza Motorsport title, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised that everybody kind of has to get reacclimated to maybe some adjustments to physics, and perhaps it'll be right down your alley in terms of how things are set up in there. And even if that's not the case, then I would definitely encourage you to participate, because at that point, I'm expecting, maybe nobody else is, I'm expecting that there are going to be a lot of people who are trying to get back into community leagues again. And so if you get involved now, I believe there will be a first right of refusal opportunity when it comes to registration, where you say, hey, I was there for season, 51. Let's just say season 51 is the last season in Forza Motorsport 7. I'm not sure that will be the case, but if it is, then perhaps that gives you an opportunity to raise your hand and say, yes, I was in season 51. I want to be in season 52. Put me on the main list, not the reserves. There you go. All right, so I know that was a lot of things to say, and really what it boils down to is head on over to reddit.com/r/FM4. Take a look at how they have things set up. It's very easy to comprehend. They do a lot to take out the nuance and to try to flatten that level, that learning curve for you, so things are not all that difficult to make out. Get your vehicle set up. Throw a livery on there as elaborate as you want to make it, or as simplified as you want to make it. If you have issues with tuning, you don't know a lot about tuning, there are plenty of folks in FM4 who you are seeing race tonight that are going to be happy, more than happy, to help you out with the tuning aspect of things. And like I said, I promise, like over time, you're going to see improvements, and before you know it, who knows? Maybe we'll be seeing you here in the top 10, top 5. Vying for vying for a victory, and then perhaps going for the championship at some point. It's a beer league. Get in. Fear on pole, says Kratium. Really? Did Fear beat out? I mean, Fear does have the NSXR, but I thought Subaru had a quicker time. You're right. Fear the Fun did eke out a 1/10 of a second quicker, or a few tenths of a second quicker. I didn't see exactly how many. But, yeah, Fear the Fun is going to be on pole. How about you? Kid? I don't know what that means. All right, Slow Motion Fire giving us the thumbs up there in the chat, says, we're about to go racing, my friend. Very well. Here we go, folks. Hope you're having a good Tuesday evening. If not, stick around. We'll try to turn that frown upside down for you. They're out on the pole, Fear the Fun, P1, or they're out on the grid, Fear the Fun on pole, P1, LS Subaru, opposite of him, they're in P2 with the Scirocco R. Kick the tires, light the fires, here we go, folks, as they head up the hill here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. It's season 50, week number 3, race number 5 of 9. We've got 4 drivers with victories in the first 4 races. The championship is up for grabs. Out of the Andretti hairpin, Fear the Fun's going to lead the charge with about a 3 to 4, maybe even 5 car length lead here over the Scirocco R of LS Subaru. Into the challenging right-hander, avoids the kitty litter off to the left, now comes up to the Mother's Garage bridge. I don't think it's Mother's Garage. Mother's polishes, waxes, you name it. They got it, I guess. I don't know. They're not sponsoring the channel. I just call them out as I see them. Let's go to Joe Beardy, who also has the NSXR and has made a move around LS Subaru for second. And as a matter of fact, Oops Serena, they're in third with the BMW as they come up the Rahal straight toward the corkscrew. There goes Oops Serena looking to the outside in what seems to be an equally an equal amount of blue there on the front end. And instead of making the pass out of the corkscrew, is going to go ahead and just hang tight there through the S's. Into this right-hander. The headlights beaming into our faces here in the late afternoon, early evening time. Monterey, California, into the left-hander. The final corner here at Raceway Laguna Seca. And across the line goes Fear the Fun. Joe Beardy in second. Oops Serena in third. Audrex in fourth. Enraged Barney in fifth. LS Subaru is in sixth position now after starting in second. Craytream is up to seventh. Modern Weapon in eighth. Cuda 93, who had that dirty qualifying lap and had to start toward the back, up to ninth position now. And Slow Motion Fire in 10th. Let's go to Enraged Barney in fifth position. And we've got a driver off the track. I believe that may be Slow Motion Fire. I don't know. The timing sometimes does not work out very well here on the track map there in the bottom left. I do not think that was Slow Motion Fire. I think that was, pardon me, losing my voice apparently. I think that was another driver off into the sand trap coming out of turn number 4. Let's go to P3. Back up the hill they go very quickly here. 20 laps. 20 laps out at Laguna Seca. There goes Oops Serena to the inside. Enraged Barney this time looking to the outside. Last time it was Oops Serena looking to the outside of Joe Beardy. Joe Beardy now starting to establish a little bit of distance between them and Oops Serena. Out of that final right-hander, they're going to go side by side. Oops Serena on the low side. Enraged Barney on the outside, going to grab a little bit of the rumble strip. Try to out-accelerate Oops Serena. I don't think that's going to happen here. We've got the BMW M2 Coupe with, again, that has 441 horsepower to the Scirocco R's 357. So a little bit of a horsepower disadvantage there on the straightaway. But then Enraged Barney trying to make it up here very early on this third lap at Andretti hairpin. Going to keep the headlamps there in Oops Serena's rear view mirrors and try to put the pressure on Joe Beardy. Happy to have a little bit of breathing room here. Qualified, I believe, in row number 2 and now up to P2. Oops Serena going to go ahead and hold the line here. The inside going back up the hill toward the VP Fuels bridge. And then the very challenging right-hand or left-hander, and I don't think I've seen a driver fly off into the dirt. So very well done there. That can be one of the more difficult corners. And particularly in a race like this where you've got drivers, vehicles of all different well, they try to keep the specifications as close as possible. They're in A-class, the majority of them, the only exception being the NSXR. But the majority of the cars are at A800. That being said, we got a variety of vehicles. So some vehicles have a lot better grip, more grip than others. A little bit better braking, better acceleration. A little bit different here celebrating 50 seasons of the Forza Spec Racing Series. This is the first time they've really done anything like this, and I think it's worked out beautifully. The drivers may have something to say about that. They've got to have 9 different vehicles here throughout Season 50 ready to go. That's a lot of extra tuning, a lot of extra painting, but well worth it as they take a look back at the annals of Forza Spec Racing Series history with these 10 vehicles. There are a few that you don't see out here on the track, to include the VW Beetle, TVR Sagaris. You say Sagaris, I say Sagaris. The SVX, which was very, very popular out of Daytona. I'd say probably 95% of the field was driving the SVX, and therefore we won't see that car show up very much, if at all, here for the remainder of the season. We did see one driver in the Aston Martin V8 Vantage, Audrex in the RS 500, a few Scirocco Rs. I don't think we have a 360 Challenge Stradale out here, the Ferrari. The Ferrari getting used sparingly. Perhaps that'll be a favorite out at the Nürburgring GP or the Nordschleife 1 week from tonight. And then the Subaru Impreza WRX STI, one of the 2 Subarus up for grabs here in Season 50. Enraged Barney a little bit wide there into that final corner is going to go ahead and allow Cratrium to come into the fold here. So we got a couple of Scirocco Rs taking on the BMW. Back through the Andretti hairpin. Here it turns 2 and I think that's technically 2 and 3. And then this here 4. And now out to the Continental Tire Bridge. Little runoff sound. You hear the pops, the crackles there from the VW as they let off the throttle and let the RPMs kind of just work their way down. And so Fear the Fun, who started out on pole after qualifying, is still out in front, heading up the hill toward the corkscrew, and it looks like Oops Arena kicking up the dust a little bit. And now Enraged Barney up to 3rd. Oops Arena was challenging Joe Beardy for 2nd, but Joe Beardy in that Honda NSX just a little bit too overpowered for Serena to keep up. And so now it's really going to be this trio here of Enraged Barney, Oops Arena, Cratrium in 3rd, 4th, and 5th, respectively. And we'll see if LS Subaru, who is, again, started out in P2, but now finds himself in P6. We'll see if we can't make this a 4-way battle. It looks like maybe, was that Enraged Barney going wide through the hairpin? No, it was Oops Arena dropping back now as Cratrium in the Scirocco R gets around. Oh, right there on the back bumper so much that we clip right through it. The camera does. Cratrium becomes a ghost. Becomes ghostly there for a second. Here comes Oops Arena, wanting to get that one back. Trying to get a podium here. Especially with LS Subaru back behind. This is an opportunity for Oops Arena to move up to the top spot on the leaderboard. LS Subaru with just a 4-point lead. Oops Arena runs wide at the entry of the carousel. And that made things a little bit difficult there for Cratrium too, who was trying to take, I think, like the midline, but the back end of the M2 just kind of hanging out there, blocking the way. And so for now, Oops Arena reclaims P4. But yes, LS Subaru with a 4-point lead over Oops Arena, entering week number 3, 97-93. And then AMS Storm, who picked up a victory out at Lime Rock in race number 4, 92 points. AMS Storm is not participating tonight. So this will likely be AMS Storm's drop week. And we'll enter week number 4. Maybe a few points back from Subaru and Oops Arena. We'll have to see how that pans out here once they calculate the totals following tonight's action. Let's go ahead and put the camera here on our race leader, Fear the Fun, in the Honda NSXR. Yes, it does come in at S708 Performance Index. Slightly higher than the rest of the vehicles that are A800 Performance Index rated. Charlie with the follow. DOR Charlie, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And Born as Ghost, and I don't... So here we go with my my alerts, my Streamlab alerts working all wonky again. Let me try to reset this for y'all. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Blackbird 2000. Blackbird Y2K. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for tuning in here. And hopefully you're having a good Tuesday. Yeah, I would be remiss if I didn't do this one. Born as Ghost, 23 months. Subscribe to the channel. There we go. There's the pit alarm. That's what that's what we like to hear. And yeah, again, if you missed the beginning of the broadcast, anybody who is subscribed to the channel, here this evening, I will have the form finalized, and I'll have it available in my other broadcasts on Friday and Sunday. But then, of course, 1 week from tonight for week 4 of Season 50 of the Forza Spec Racing Series. If you are a subscriber to the channel, you get to name a corner out at Circuit of the Americas. And I'll call it out. That way we can have fun, and it's an additional way for me to kind of give back to those of you who go above and beyond the follow and say, hey, you know what, Dustin, I'll support the channel just that much more, either with a subscription or a Twitch Prime sub. So look for that form. Don't miss it. If you're a sub, take advantage of that. Get the full value of things here on X Venture. And then DOR Charlie, here we go. We'll get you the proper sound effect as well. There it is, the air wrench. Yeah, DOR Charlie T with the follow. Thank you, thank you. Probably a pretty good time. Couple of new follows, so hello. Welcome. Anybody else that's tuned in as well, thank you so much for being here. I'm Dustin Moore. You're watching Season 50 of the Forza Spec Racing Series, and they're doing something unlike any other season that they operate, because it is the 50th season. They've gone back in time, pulled 10 cars from the prior seasons that they've run, and they're pitting those vehicles against each other. So the first time here in FM4 that you actually get to pick what car you want to drive of 10, and there are 9 races. You get to race 9 of those 10 vehicles. After you've raced that vehicle, you cannot race it again. So you have to be very strategic, very thoughtful about which car you pick for which track. Good stuff. And again, 4 victories by 4 different drivers through the first 4 races. We have not had that here in FM4 in a while, in quite some time. So who is going to win the championship here? Will somebody finally break LS Subaru's 8-season winning streak? You heard me correctly, 8 seasons. Just a couple off of the pace of Cratrim, who I believe has 10 championships in total here over 50 seasons, as we see Cratrim here in the Scirocco R underneath the Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca Bridge, which will change to WeatherTech here with the new Forza Motorsport title. DOR Charlie says, figured I'd be remiss if I didn't attempt to catch a stream after 50 seasons. Well, there you go. That's the way I see it. If you've got a league, if you've got a community-based league that has run for 50 seasons, check this. Check this. As if 50 seasons wasn't pretty dang impressive enough. This is their 10th year. Dating back to Forza Motorsport 4, the Forza Spec Racing Series has been operating for 10 years here in 2023. So big kudos to everybody who's been involved all throughout. Even if you're no longer here and you've raced in FM4 before, you had a hand in that. So very, very well done. Here comes Enraged Barney in third in the Scirocco R, leading. If you're not driving a Honda NSX-R, the next best vehicle out on the track right now is the Scirocco R. Enraged Barney behind the wheel of that one, here into the left-hander. The Lee Falk livery. Back across the line, beginning of lap number 11 of 20. And again, if you'd like to participate, and I definitely encourage you to do so, this is a beer league. They're not taking this all that seriously. They come out here, they have fun, they give you bragging rights if you win the championship. But otherwise, it is an opportunity here for you on a Tuesday, because nobody has anything going on a Tuesday. Nobody. You can't convince me otherwise. Carve out 2 hours. That's all it takes here on a Tuesday evening, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern till approximately 10 p.m. Eastern. Usually they finish before that. So you get 2 hours of racing in, 2 races per evening, the only exception being week number 5, in which they run an endurance event. That event here in Season 50 going to be out at Circuit of the Americas, the full Grand Prix circuit. All right, here comes Enraged Barney. Lighten up the front discs there on the Scirocco R as the heavy braking would demand. Let's go back to LS Subaru, who qualified in P2. Very quickly in the race, dropped back to P6, and is still in P6. This is the most stagnant position we have seen LS Subaru in ever. Coming out of that final left-hander, making the charge back toward the start-finish line for the beginning of lap number 12, following Cratrium in P5. P4, Oops Serena unable to reclaim P3 after losing that about 5 laps ago. That's where Enraged Barney currently sits. There goes LS Subaru taking a peek to the inside there of Cratrium, the winningest drivers of FM4 history right here, coming out of turn number 4 underneath the Continental Tire Bridge. And charging after that M2 of Oops Serena. Oops Serena gonna have to really do the best she can here to hold off LS Subaru. The points matter in this race between these two. They absolutely matter. If Oops Serena wants to have a chance at winning the championship here in Season 50, it's going to be races like these where she cannot let Subaru get by. Here comes Subaru, hard charging into the top of the corkscrew. Looked like possibly taking a look around Cratrium, but thought better of it. The corkscrew is not necessarily the best place to pass unless your opponent has a glaring mistake there and runs wide. Rather, we'll save it for another lap. And even if you don't want to race yourself, if you would rather be a spectator, I completely understand. I've played Forza Motorsport for the 16, 17 years that it's existed, and I don't want to be on the other side. I'd rather be here chatting. So I understand if you would rather be a spectator, but if you know somebody who is either big on competitive esport racing, virtual motorsports, or maybe they're just getting into it and they want to be able to test their abilities, their skills against other drivers, we're very courteous, very understanding when mistakes are made, and tell them that FM4 might be the place for them. I mean, they've been around for 50 seasons, 10 years. They got to be doing something right. So if you're questioning whether or not you should be involved, let me just remove all doubt for you right then and there. Back to the corkscrew here as the duo of Kratrium and LS Subaru in the Scirocco's really putting the pressure on here. Oops Arena, that gap is pretty much non-existent here. I mean, you could stand between the cars. I wouldn't advise it. But pretty soon you won't even be able to slip a piece of paper. Here comes LS Subaru as Kratrium tried to take the opportunity to get around Oof Arena there into that final corner. LS Subaru says, well, I'll try to make the pass. Well, didn't make it stick there, but let's see here. Heading into turn number 2, Andretti hairpin, LS Subaru to the low line. Kratrium on the outside, and it looks like, yes indeed, LS Subaru finally going to move up a position from P6 to P5 after running basically the first half of this race there at mid-pack, able to make a move, and now has the M2 of Oops Arena in his sights. I didn't save that replay in time, did I? Oh, I'm doing terrible on the replay this season. Well, this year, 2023. I step away from FN4 for one season, and I can't figure out how to save a replay. Let's see what we got. Let's go to that X-Venture replay here. Oh yeah, we got replay functionality. You betcha. There it goes. LS Subaru holding the line and able to make that pass up to P5. And now, out of the final right-hander into the final left-hander. Going to try to make a move here for P4. Unable to do it. And the BMW M2 peels away, at least for now. That's a cool feature. Well, thank you, Charlie. You know what? I may not have the largest viewership of the Forza community here, but gosh darn it, I try to give you all a great viewing experience, and well, that might have been the pinnacle of it. Might have been the best I could offer. Really going for quality here. Oops Arena back up the hill, doing a great job playing defense for now. Can she hold on to it for the next 5.5 laps here? Back to the Rahal Straight at the 2.24 mile Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca here in Forza Motorsport 7. Some of these drivers on PC, some of these drivers on console. If it wasn't for being 1:30 in the morning, you can count me in. Oh, well, thank you so much for tuning in from across the pond at this late hour of the evening, or I guess early hour of the morning, however you look at it. Here comes Oops Arena, almost going side by side there with LS Subaru. LS Subaru, though, lining it up to try to hit the inside line, perhaps thinking, okay, well, one of these Oops Arena might just leave the door open, and I might be able to scoot past. Well, it hasn't happened yet. Let's take a look at the vehicle situation here for Oops Arena and how that compares to the Scirocco R of Subaru and Kratrium. There you see 43%, 48% left and right front tires in terms of tire wear. The 28% of fuel in the tank should not be an issue, but tire wear is starting to get a little bit up there, close to 50%. May start to feel that here toward the end of the race. And as we skip on back to LS Subaru in 5th, a little bit more dire, only because we see orange instead of yellow up there, having surpassed the 50% tire degradation mark up front with that front-wheel drive Scirocco R. And, oh, punting a cone is Oops Arena. in week number 2, the hazard on the track seemed to be rear view mirrors, side mirrors. Oops Arena taking care of a cone. LS Subaru and Cratrim went side by side there into the final left-hander. No change in position. We keep the camera here. I know there are other battles out on the track, but really this one for 4th is quite possibly the most spicy. Most spicy out on the track. Fear the Fun, still our race leader, qualified P1 in the Honda NSXR, which does have an advantage in terms of performance index, followed by Joe Beardy in P2, also in the Honda NSXR. And then Enraged Barney, who was in the mix here with Oofs Arena and Cratrim a little bit ago, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 laps ago. Enraged Barney saying, hasta la vista, I'm out of here. Enraged Barney in the Scirocco R. And then it's right here with P4, 5, and 6 that we have this close battle. And then you have to look quite a ways back to find Cuda 93. Cuda 93 actually having a solid race, though, here in the NSXR. Started out at the back of the pack following a dirty qualifying lap time, and now finds themselves mid-pack, P7, followed by Modern Weapon in 8th, Born as Ghost in 9th position. And oh, here we go, LS Subaru able to make the pass on Oofs Arena. Now Oofs Arena to the inside here at the final left-hander, may be able to get it back. Side by side, down the front straightaway they come here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca in Forza Motorsport 7. And just like that, Oofs Arena is able to reclaim P4. So a little taste there for Subaru. It did not last long, but here we go to the inside, where LS Subaru was able to make the pass on Cratrim a few laps back. Now here on lap number 18, going to go side by side with Oofs Arena into the right-hander at turn number 4. Side by side under the bridge. They're going to hold on to it here to the next right-hander. Oh, it takes 2 to tango, and that's exactly what they've got going on here. The final 3 laps out at Raceway Laguna Seca. Oofs Arena, Subaru, they're the two top they're 2 of the top drivers in terms of overall championship point standings here coming into week number 3. 97 for Subaru, 93 for Oofs Arena. Now Subaru back out in front by just a nose here, a nose of the Scirocco, perhaps closing the door, wedging Oofs Arena against the dirt there on the inside, the apex on that left-hander before heading up the hill here at Ray Hall Straight. Subaru to the inside at the corkscrew. Oofs Arena to the outside. Midnight Rider, one of the back markers in the BA Vantage, going to get into the mix before hitting the brakes, and all of the drivers able to make it through without any incident. And so now, down the corkscrew they came. It is at this point, LS Subaru in 4th, Oofs Arena in 5th, and Cratrim, despite the back and forth, not able to take advantage of it, perhaps just hanging back there, just letting things play out a little bit, still in P6. Hot dog! Across the line, LS Subaru in the Scirocco R, Oofs Arena in the M2, the brake discs lighting up on both vehicles. And let's see here, is Oofs Arena going to be able to put 441 horsepower to use to try to get back around Cratrim, excuse me, not Cratrim, but Subaru. And as I say Cratrim taking a shot at Oofs Arena's position of P5. I don't think he was able to make the pass, however. And instead, they'll stay. Subaru, Oofs Arena, Cratrim, 4, 5, 6 here on lap 19. Next time by the flag stand for the beginning of lap number 20, they will see the proverbial white flag. Oh, this is exciting. This is very fun. This is how championships go down to the wire all the way to the 9th and final race of the season. And this is going to make a big difference. Oofs Arena would definitely like to be out in front of LS Subaru, trying to recoup a few points to move up possibly to the top spot heading into week number 4. But as it stands right now, LS Subaru is going to continue that edge as they go through the S's here into the right-hander, then the left-hander, and across the line for the penultimate time here tonight. We've got one more for you this evening. Don't go anywhere. The fun has just begun. We head out to the test track here in Forza Motorsport 7 next. Across the line, Enraged Barney now starts to come into view here for LS Subaru. An even more damning situation here for Oof Serena if LS Subaru can grab a podium spot. Oh, and maybe the pressure starting to get to LS, or excuse me, not LS, but Enraged Barney. I say the pressure, but it also could be the degradation of the grip. Those front tires screaming for mercy here on the front-wheel drive Scirocco R. And if Subaru has done a better job at preserving those front tires, may have a little bit more grip. Here we go, about 1/4 of the lap behind us, 3/4 remaining. Subaru now right up under the back bumper. Enraged Barney going to take the low line. Subaru at about midline here into the right-hander. Oof Serena in the M2 just gonna hang tight. Really, that's the best she could do. And let's see here if Subaru tries to make a move that might give Oof Serena the opportunity if there is contact and if Enraged Barney and Subaru get slowed down by one another. Cratrim, you see the headlamps there. The other Scirocco R of the three here in the mix, just hanging back there in P6, ready to strike at a moment's notice. Now into the left-hander. The penultimate left-hander. Into the final right-hander. Enraged Barney able to hold on to P3 for now. Here we go into the final left-hander. LS Subaru looks to the outside, gets a couple of tires there onto the rumble strip. Enraged Barney looks like he locked up the front tires maybe there midway through that final corner, but just gonna be able to edge him out. Yes, it is Enraged Barney P3, Subaru in P4, Oof Serena, I do believe, in P5. Oh my gosh, what an exciting finish. Cratrim not able to take advantage of any of that, not able to move up as all the drivers able to keep the cars pointed in the right direction. Nobody fouled up, nobody made a mistake. Cratrim just stands to pick up the, gosh, I have usually in front of me how much each position is worth, each finishing position is worth, but Cratrim, no doubt, definitely wanting some more points out of that one. Because entering week number 3 here was sitting in 4th at 88. 4 points off of AMS Storm, 5 points off of Oof Serena, and 9 points back from LS Subaru. Oh my gosh. All right, folks, you know the drill. I'm going to run some ads. The little bit that comes to me after Twitch takes their cut directly supports the channel. So those of you who are followers, please just hang tight. I promise you, you won't miss a single thing. You won't miss any of the action. We'll come back. We'll talk to a couple of our drivers here in the driver spotlight. We'll get ready for the race out at the airport test track for race number 6 and the back half of season 50 here in the Forza Spec Racing series. Whew! I got to catch my breath. You're watching X Adventure. I'm Dustin Moore. I'll be right back. And welcome back here, X Adventure on Twitch TV, season 50, week number 3. It is week number 3. I promise I know what I'm talking about here. That race there actually signified the end of the first half of the season, and now as we go into our test track race out at the airport here in Forza Motorsport 7, we start the back half here of season 50, celebrating in a big way with 10 different vehicles for our drivers to choose from. They can only use each vehicle once, and there's one vehicle, there's a 10th vehicle that they won't use altogether because there are only 9 races and 10 cars to pick from. How drivers are being strategic with that is entirely up to them. All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and let's do the thing where we talk to our drivers in the driver's spotlight, but probably more importantly, and this might signify a milestone in and of itself, the first time in probably quite some time that I'm talking with Fear the Fun, getting the victory out there at Laguna Seca. You opted for the Honda NSX. LS Subaru last week said, hey, probably a great combination, the NSX, Laguna Seca. You made it happen. You got the win. More importantly, your graphics card held out for you there.
Yeah, man, one of the good tracks, and fuck. Oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to say that. No, yeah, it was a good race. I enjoyed it. I waited until everybody was kind of, they had cycled through all the fast guys had cycled through the NSX and weren't running it, and I was real quiet. I didn't even pull it out until like the last 5 minutes of practice and whatnot. I was like, I knew I got it. Just got to be a little bit quiet, be a little bit sneaky, stealthy about it, and go from there.
Of all the times that I talk to you, which is pretty much every week in FM4, you never drop an F-bomb, but now you get a victory, and it just slips on out.
It came out of me, man.
Well, hey, qualifying might have told a different story, right? You were able to edge out LS Subaru to get on pole, which even if you had been another tenth of a second or so off from Subaru's pace, that would have put you still on row number 1 in P2. But I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, and I didn't say it out loud, but I'm like, well, if Subaru in the Scirocco R is able to keep that pace, which definitely is challenging, able to keep that pace, might actually give you a run for the money in the NSX. That wasn't the case, and really, you were uncontested there. Joe Beardy tried to keep pace with you there in second position, also running the NSXR, but really, in your mind, what were you thinking the entirety of that race when you had such a large gap? Was it one, hey, hopefully all my hardware holds up, but then also you had some back marker traffic? Sometimes you want to make sure that you're not getting complacent and making your own mistakes. So I'm guessing there's quite a bit still going on in your head, even if there's not somebody right on your rear bumper.
Well, when my graphics card crashes, it's at certain tracks.
Yeah. I said hardware just in case anything else, though, is what I was saying.
True. Yeah. Aye, stop barking. Yeah, but no, man, I wasn't super worried. I knew I had a fast car. I knew I ran the fastest time in qualifying. It was bear. Oh, sorry. Of course, I will start barking as soon as.
I've never all the times that I've talked to you, I've never heard a dog even until now.
We've got 9. Yeah, too many dogs. But no, I mean, I knew the NSX was fast.
Yeah.
And I knew Subaru had used his NSX, and I didn't know if Barney had, but I was like, everybody else was kind of showing their hands in practice and qualifying, and I was like, okay. And like, I had done a little bit of practice last week with the NSX, and I was thinking about holding it to Nürburgring and both of the Nürburgrings, but I was like, you know what? This is a good track. I'm good at this track. I know I can run low 32s clean, and I know like 33s is where a lot of people are like, where a lot of cars are happy at that track. So I was like, just let's get there. Let's try to get a win, because I haven't got a win since the Aston Martin season, which was in the 20s.
Wow. It's been that long, huh?
It's been that long.
Wow.
And this is the first win since then, and I was like, if I had a chance, this was it, and I got it. So I took it.
Very good. Great opportunity, and you struck. You took the opportunity when it existed. Talking with Fear the Fun here in the driver's spotlight, getting the win out at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. You are the 5th driver to pick up a victory, and so that means through the first 5 races, we have a different driver winning each race, which really makes things exciting here on the points tally. Unfortunately for you, however, a
I'm
few
out.
disconnects put you out of that picture. I mean, this would have been the prime season for you to have a run at it. It just wasn't meant to be, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, blame AMD, but I mean, I guess the good thing is tomorrow we get the release date for the next Forza, and hopefully we only have one more season on this Forza, so the next Forza I can play in its entirety, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Just real quick here, Fear the Fun. If it wasn't the NSX out at Laguna Seca, what was the next runner up?
Sirocco.
The
I love
Scirocco.
the Sirocco. I love it at that track. I could have been decently competitive with Joe in the Sirocco with Joe and Barney, but I just I was running the NSX and I didn't see a lot of other people running the NSX, and I was like, "This is my time. Let's do it." So
Gotcha. I was going to ask you a little bit more about the Scirocco, but I'll go ahead and leave those questions for LS Subaru, who we've got right behind you here in the driver's spotlight. But hey, Fear the Fun, congratulations. Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, one of my favorite tracks here in Forza Motorsport 7, and actually the whole series, the whole franchise of Forza Motorsport. So when you said it's a good track, I agree with you. We're right there on the same page. So congratulations there. We'll see how things go for you here out at the test circuit.
thanks, Dustin. Have a good broadcast.
Thank you very much. You too, and the dog as well. Hopefully, Fear the Fun doesn't drop the F-bomb, doesn't have dogs barking any other time, gets a victory, and it all just happens. It's the perfect storm there for him. All right, LS Subaru joining us now in the driver's spotlight. Things were looking a little kind of chaotic there for you for a small stint of the race. You qualified P2 there in row number 1. Quickly dropped back to P6, maybe even further, I don't know, but P6 is where I saw you for the majority of the race, and it wasn't there until those final laps that you were able to make a couple of moves up into, fifth position, or not fifth position, fourth position, yeah?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I just got caught up in a couple of incidents that just dropped me and that just bled positions for me.
Yeah.
The first one was lap 1, turn 1. Barney went for a big dive up the inside. His car oversteered because he was off the throttle, so he jammed on the throttle. It straightened out, pretty much straightened out and went straight into me. Pushed me wide, and I lost a couple positions. And then, a few laps later, I got into an incident with Audrex where I was gonna try and stay around the outside of the corner going into turn 3, I think it is.
Yeah.
And he made a little bit of a misjudgment on picking the line and went a little bit too far out and ran me out of space. We came into contact, and Forza Glue just did the rest of it, and he went right into the gravel, and I was for some reason given a 5-second time penalty for that, which I don't absolutely don't agree with. But yeah, that dropped me all the way down to P7. So after that, it was just trying to recover as many positions as I could, and almost got a podium again, but I had to settle for P4.
Gotcha. Okay, well, it's great to hear that full story, even though obviously not working out the way that you had really hoped, but getting a P4 finish puts you in front of Oops Arena, who finished behind you in 5th, and that was really the challenge, right? The Scirocco R, we saw the tire degradation happening at the front of the vehicle. I think Oops Arena was feeling a little bit of that in the M2, but not to the same extent as the Scirocco R. Did you think coming into this race that was already going to be a factor, that things were going to feel a little bit loose? I mean, already the Scirocco R, as we've seen in the season in which it was run, kind of a troublesome vehicle in terms of grip.
I was only concerned about grip on the first lap because that's when the tires are cold. You can get the front tires up to temperature immediately because it's front wheel drive. You can just just hold a massive skid off the line, and the tires will be up for temperature for the first couple of corners. But it's those rear tires that you need to get up to temperature, so you got to be wary of controlling the oversteer when you're taking corners on cold rear tires. So that was something that Barney unfortunately wasn't able to control, and that was kind of what actually caused the first incident, just cold rear tires that Barney wasn't able to control.
Yeah, and we saw that during the qualifying, the initial qualifying laps. Drivers in the Scirocco R looking very understeery early on in the first and even early of the second lap there out at Laguna Seca for qualifying. But now we head out to the airport test track, which you guys have all kinds of instructions here that you have to follow because the game gives you different lines that you could take, but you've got that all prescribed for you here in Season 50 FM4 race number 6. What's your take on this track? Do you have a lot of experience with this as a competitive circuit, or has this always been one that's kind of, it exists, but you don't really bother with it much?
This is a track that I've only raced competitively once, and that was in my first season in FM4, season 42 with the Trans Am. And that was actually my first race with FM4 and also my first win.
Yeah.
But yeah, personally for me, I actually love this track. I think it's super underrated because it's not supposed to be a track that's competitive. It's just a track that's supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
And a track like Test Track Airfield, I think, is perfect for a series like FM4, where the championship is arbitrary, but the fun is mandatory, as the slogan is.
That's right.
So yeah, I think this is a great track for FM4, and so a track that I think should be chosen more often.
Interesting. I did not expect that. I thought maybe you'd be more of a realistic, real-world circuit type person, but it's great to hear that even the fictional tracks get a little bit of love. I see you in the Scirocco R. Obviously, you're going to be changing that here in just a moment. What vehicle can we expect you here in race number 6 of the season?
So for the Test Track Airfield, I will actually be running the Aston Martin for this one.
Okay.
Yeah. So in my testing, I found that the Aston Martin that Test Track Airfield was the one track outside of the Daytona Oval where in my testing I found that the Honda wasn't the fastest car. For me personally, the Aston Martin was actually faster than the Honda for me, so I got to choose the Aston Martin for this race.
Okay. All right. So the Aston Martin V8 Vantage from season 25, one of the first seasons that I covered. You got 607 horsepower in that one. I guess my last question for you there, 3,600 pounds of vehicle curb weight. It's the heaviest vehicle of the 10. Is part of the thinking is that weight helps keep that car hunkered to the ground. We've got some jumps. We've got some parts of the track that are a little uneven, gets the suspension going. Does the extra weight help?
I think what makes the Aston good around this track is that Test Track Airfield's a track that is very downforce focused and also at the same time power focused.
Okay.
Turn 1 and Turn 2 are very long sweeping corners, so you kind of want a car that has good downforce and just good mechanical grip as a whole to be able to carry the most amount of speed there, but you also got the really long start-finish straight where you kind of need that acceleration and that horsepower to kind of pull away from the other cars as well. So having those as a combination, the Aston Martin, it makes sense. It makes a little bit more sense, at least, that it's a good car for this track. It still weighs a lot, so you have a lot of... it's quite a lethargic car to drive, but the downforce kind of reduces that the lethargic. Well, it doesn't make it as lethargic, I should say, but it is still a heavy car at the end of the day.
Still a heavy car. Well, I love the methodology there, factoring in the weight, but the horsepower, and of course the vehicle's ability to be competitive in the corners around here at the test circuit. We'll see. I feel like the Aston Martin V8 Vantage offered up some of the greatest racing that we've seen here in FM4, and so opting for this vehicle on a very interesting track can be an interesting, but at the same time, perhaps a wise decision. So LS Subaru, well done there at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, at least able to finish out in front of Uf Serena, and best of luck to you here qualifying at the test track.
Thank you.
All right, there we go. That's our drivers Fear the Fun, LS Subaru here in the driver's spotlight. We'll talk to a couple of additional drivers here at the end of the broadcast. So if you really love kind of getting into the mind of the racers here, then hang tight. Not only for the racing that we've got going on, but we'll have that additional commentary here at the end of the broadcast. I'll preview what's ahead here on X Adventure, not just Forza Motorsport stuff, but other things happening. And yes, it was mentioned, Fear the Fun, there during the driver's spotlight interview, that Forza Motorsport will be teased a little bit more tomorrow during an Xbox Direct Developer or something like that. I don't know what they call them anymore. They used to just call those things the Xbox Showcase or something to that effect, but I think it's like a Developer Direct or a Direct Develop. I don't know. Either way, Turn 10 Studios will be on there with a little bit more of an inside preview of the new Forza Motorsport title. And as Fear the Fun had mentioned, we're anticipating a release date coming out of this event, which will kind of give us reason to be excited here for the FM4 series, going to a new title with new opportunity, new ways to run these races. It's going to be very, very thrilling. And then, of course, I fully anticipate, I hope it is the case. If I'm wrong, then I will just shrivel up like a prune and hide in a corner and be like, well, darn it, we're never going to get the full grid that I'm hoping for, but I'm sure we will. I think it's going to happen where we have full grids. We got more people watching here on the channel and enjoying the racing that we've got going on here on Tuesday nights with the new Forza Motorsport title right around the corner. People are going to get excited, right? They're going to get excited. They're going to come hang out, try to get those skills up again. Should be a lot of fun. All right, here we go. Qualifying is underway out at the test track. We've got Slow Motion Fire, the first one out there, leading the pack around through the warehouse here in the BMW M2 Coupe and around the DC3s, the tail draggers. It's like we're bringing my flight sim stream and the Forza stream together here on a Tuesday. FM4 and across the line here somewhere. We don't see the line, but it exists right there before the jump. The jump is just the added bonus that you get after they cross the line. Slow Motion Fire with the 110-0. Well, I checked that. That's Cuda 93's 110-055. Now LS Subaru with a 106-100. One double lot there. Let's go to LS Subaru with the V8 Vantage. Carbon fiber hood. Decked out livery-wise. Again, they have to pick 9 different vehicles here across 10 races, or excuse me, 9 different vehicles of 10 across 9 different races here throughout the season, which means they have 9 times the work that they've got to put in. Well, they don't have to. I mean, you could go pretty easy on the livery. You don't have to go all out there, but for the cars, the tunes, all that, a little extra. Quite a bit extra, I should say, going into this season. All to celebrate 50 seasons, and now here at the beginning of 2023, 10 years. 10 years running. LS Subaru coming across the line. Let's see, able to do better than the 106.1. Yes, a 103.798. The V8 grabs a little bit of air. Not as much as the M2, I don't think. Let's go to Slow Motion Fire in that M2. Back through the garage, and then eventually into the warehouse. Again, they have a very prescribed route that they ought to take here. They can't deviate. So you see the gray dots kind of moving off of that white line there on the track map in the bottom left. Well, that's meant to be. Let's go to Fear the Fun, getting the win out at Laguna Seca, now in the Aston Martin V8 Vantage. If you did not see that season, the 25th season, or any of the other seasons that I have broadcast, well, guess what? You're in luck. If you really want to watch those back, which there's no reason you shouldn't, if you want to watch them back, let's see. I thought I had a command for it. Maybe I do. Maybe I have to actually type it in, and I can't rely on my nifty little stream deck here. There you go. Head on over to that YouTube link. Pretty much every broadcast of the Forza Spec Racing Series that I've done is there. There are a few exceptions. There are instances where either Twitch did not properly record or did not properly transfer the videos over to YouTube, or in some instances, like a doofus, I forgot to do it myself, and so they never made it over to YouTube. But like 98% of my broadcast here for the FM4 Spec series can be found on YouTube, dating all the way back to the original seasons. All right, qualifying has concluded here. The 3 qualifying laps are in the books, and here are the times. All of the drivers getting dirty laps. Now, this is because they had a prescribed path that they had to take that is not the actual racing line per the game, and so really the organizers are going to align them based on their lap, their dirty lap. I mean, that makes sense, right? There are no clean laps to stack above this. This is what it is. 105.6 there for Slow Motion Fire. 103.7 should be good for pole. LS Subaru in the Aston Martin Vantage V8. 105.9 there for Kuda. Fear the Fun with a 105.7. I think that's going to be good for row number 2. No. Yes, row number 2, because Enraged Barney with a VW Beetle at a 104.419 and Cratrium with an M2 at a 104.565. No. Never mind. There are quite a few 104s. So Fear the Fun will be a little bit further back, but not much. Not much. Maybe row 3, row 4. Kuda 93, if I didn't already say it, 105.9 in the TVR. Getting that one out of the garage. Onion with Too Many Eyes in the VW Beetle at 107.770. 108.3 there for Born as Ghost in the Aston Martin V8. Enraged Barney, I already mentioned that, 104.4. Cratrium with a 104.5 there for the M2. 106.5 there for Modern Weapon in the M2. Autrex also in the M2 at a 106.3. A couple tenths of a second quicker than Modern Weapon. Oops, Serena in the RS 500, 104.6. I believe that'll be row number 2 there for Oof Serena. Joe Beardy with the VW Beetle at a 106.4, and Patches Riley a 108.088 in the M2. There we go. So that's how qualifying shaped up, and the organizers go ahead and put them on the grid accordingly. Dirty lap irrelevant for this one. SDR Onion in the chat says, my skill issue continues. I hear you. I'm right there. I understand. My skill issues would be persistent if I were too an FM4 participant. Fortunately, I get to sit over here and do this. Thanks for tuning in. Tuesday evening. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your Forza foes that we're doing this here on Tuesdays, at least for the next 2 Tuesdays. They'll go into an off-season period that lasts about 3 weeks long, and then we'll hop into Season 51. Season 51 could very well be the final season that they race here in Forza Motorsport 7 if the next Forza Motorsport title is right around the corner. I have a feeling, though, it might be a little bit later in spring, maybe April or May. And so it's possible that they get Season 51, Season 52 in there. I'm really excited about it because for as long as I've been commentating FM4, which has been, I think, over 3 years, it's all happened in Forza Motorsport 7. That's how long we've had this game. The lifespan on this one has gone considerably longer than previous titles, as Turn 10 Studios took a break and said, you know what? We need a little bit more development time to try to make the next Forza Motorsport title special. They haven't numbered it. It's not Forza Motorsport 8. It is simply Forza Motorsport. I do anticipate that game is going to have legs as well, that it will be around for a while. I don't think they plan on making it any sort of live service type of game, but one of those where perhaps there's an extensive calendar of content that will come over years before they decide to then go on to the next Forza Motorsport title, whatever that might be looking like. So pretty exciting things happen here in the world of Forza Motorsport, the community for Forza Motorsport. I know it's been kind of dormant, a bit quiet, although things seem to kind of pick back up. The last Torah endurance event happened this past weekend with the 24 Hours of Daytona. Good stuff there. Well done by the Torah team as they get ready for the next Forza Motorsport title. And yeah, I don't know. You could say that I'm on the copium and then I'm optimistic, but gosh darn it, Why not? All right, here we go. Kick the tires, light the fires. Race number 6, season 50 is underway. Here at the test track, into the garage, LS Subaru goes on the wide line. And yes, that's what they have to do. And you can see that route continues there on the outside of the facility here, but they have to curve it back in to the warehouse here. Oh no, and is that Fear the Fun getting Das Boot? Oh no. Well, it actually might be a restart overall. It is. So we'll go ahead. This happens every once in a while. It's not often. It's not often, but it happens every once in a while where, for whatever reason, the officiating crew, which is just the organizers and the folks who are racing, Slow Motion Fire, Modern Weapon, Fear the Fun, kind of the ringleaders here, every once in a while they decide that there does need to be a restart. So that's what will happen. So we'll just hang tight here for a moment. But in case you were wondering, maybe you had heard about it or maybe you hadn't heard about it and you were interested in catching it live. Oh, simulation damage was still turned on. So they do have that turned off because there is no pit lane here at this circuit. So they have to turn that off because then there's no way for cars to get repaired if they have either terminal damage or significant damage. I shouldn't say terminal, because if you have terminal damage then you're just done. But if you had any damage whatsoever, there's no way to get it fixed in pit lane. So they'll go ahead and get that reset. Good thing somebody pointed it out early on and not like halfway through the race. But tomorrow I believe it is at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So that would be, 2 p.m. Eastern? I believe it's 2 p.m. Eastern is when that Xbox Developer Direct, or whatever they're calling it, takes place. You can, without doubt, watch it here on Twitch. You could probably catch it on YouTube on the official Xbox channel. And that way you could see whatever announcements they have, whatever information they have to share live. And then a Forza Monthly will be happening on Thursday. I don't have the time for that in front of me, but there will be a more extensive look at the new title on Thursday with Forza Monthly. All right, here we go. Take number 2. Kick the tires, light the fires. LS Subaru and the V8 Vantage going to lead them out of the jump and into turn number 1. A wide sweeping corner here. Enraged Barney in second with the VW Beetle, followed by Cratrum in third, Oof Serena in fourth, Fear the Fun in fifth. That's your top 5. They run wide through the garage. They'll come out of it. Look at that beautiful mural off to the left-hand side. We can't see it anymore, but nice little artwork done here on the fictional circuit of the test track. And now through the warehouse goes LS Subaru. And gosh, I hope for everybody's sake here on the leaderboard, gonna have to close the gap here with LS Subaru quickly, because you do not want to lose sight of this man. As soon as he's gone, you can count your chances of making a pass goodbye. And if Subaru does pick up the victory here in race number 6 of the season, this will be the first time in season 50 that we've had a repeat winner. Hasn't happened yet. Very, very unusual here after Cratrium's reign of championship terror in 2022. Here comes Oof Serena, the RS500, trying to make a move on Cratrium in the M2. And then you see Fear the Fun also in the Aston Martin. No. Actually, no. Yeah, he does. Aston Martin there for Fear the Fun, just as he told us in the driver's spotlight. Back behind Fear the Fun, who is in P5, it's Joe Beardy in 6th, Modern Weapon in 7th, Kuda93 in 8th position, Onion with Too Many Eyes in 9th, Odds Rex in 10th, followed by Slow Motion Fire, Born as Ghost, Patches Riley, 11th, 12th, and 13th. Let's go back real quick here. Enraged Barney in second. And the VW Beetle is actually at a slight performance index disadvantage at 695. And you might be wondering, okay, Dustin, why does the NSX get a little bit of a PI boost, and why does the Beetle? Oh, and getting up on the 2 wheels there, Enraged Barney does with the Beetle. Why does the Beetle have a PI disadvantage at 695 or 795? No, 695. 695. The reason for that is because they are running as close to the original tune that these vehicles had in their prior seasons as possible. Not every one of these vehicles was raced in Forza Motorsport 7. Some, Forza Motorsport 6, Forza Motorsport 5, even back in Forza Motorsport 4, the TBR Cigaris, however you want to say it, coming from season 11, so quite a ways back. And so, as we've gone from title to title, sometimes the components that were added to those vehicles back then don't necessarily equate to the same PI in Forza Motorsport 7, with changes in the physics and changes in how components affect car performance. The PI a little bit different, so you do have to, again, select your vehicle wisely. You have to select your vehicle wisely because you might have to use the Beetle if it is the best possible option for one of these tracks. Now, that may not be the case. Some drivers may say, I'm never going to race the Beetle. That's fine. You got 10 cars to choose from, 9 races in total. You can only use each car once. What's up there, T-Phrase? Fear won? Fear did win. The hardware held on for him. And with the Honda NSX out there at Laguna Seca, Fear the Fun picking up a victory, being the 5th race winner here in Season 50. Across the line goes Oof Serena and Cratrium side by side, and now Cratrium, as they make the jump, makes the pass up into a podium spot, P3. We'll see if Cratrium's able to hold on to that. Woo, that second jump there. That's a gnarly one. Oh, and kicking one of the tires there on the tire wall. And now Cratrium and Oof Serena both bouncing like a pinball off the barrier there on the inside of the garage. And now here comes Oof Serena back around Cratrium, the RS 500. The RS 500 coming to us from Season 31, 363 horsepower. This track in the X19 was so much... I mean, the X19, it was my first season commentating for FM4, I think. And it was such a fun season. That was a great way to kick things off for me. And then we had the V8 Vantage season, which was awesome. So many good seasons. Don't get me wrong. There were a lot of good ones. A lot. Some stinkers. That happens. Some stinkers. Not every car can be really good for competition. Some not so hot, but that's okay. Every season, at least in my eyes, has been worth running. It's gotten us thus far. 50 seasons in total for FM4. Their 10th year running here, 2023. Cratrium in P4. As the gap between Cratrium and Oof Serena starts to increase, and just as I say that, Oof Serena tags the barrier and spins the RS 500 around. Gonna drop back at least one spot, perhaps even more, as Fear the Fun now moves up in 4th. Oof Serena, yes, in 5th. Fortunately, simulation damage turned off in this race because there is no pit lane. That allows Oof Serena to recover pretty quickly and able to get back up to speed fairly fast. Just losing one spot. Of course, that could be one spot too many when trying to keep pace with the LS Subaru here for the championship point total. Let's go take a look back at that one here. The X-Venture replay, as much as Oof Serena probably rather we did not. Looking good out of the garage, then into the warehouse. As we are focused in on Cratrium, but just look ahead Here of Cratchim's car into the wall. Spins around. Tough break. Tough break for Oops Arena, who got the victory in week number 1, race number 2, out at Suzuka. And now here comes Oops Arena, making a run at the VA Vantage of Fear the Fun, trying to recoup that position. And, oh, makes it happen, but contact with Fear the Fun, bouncing off the barriers. I've seen a lot of the drivers doing that. Because there is no simulation damage turned on, I think they are purposefully bouncing it off the barrier, but that caused an issue with Fear the Fun in proximity, and I think Oops Arena volunteering to drop back to 5th and not overtaking Fear the Fun in that moment. And so for the time being, Fear will hold on to P4. Back out onto the front straightaway here. Lap number 9 of 28. 28 laps here at the test track. Whee! LS Subaru, still our race leader. Followed by Enraged Barney in second. Cratrim not too far behind in third. They are dealing with a back marker there between 2 and 3. Fear the Fun, as we see here, P4. But not for long if Oops Arena has her way. Here we go, the RS500 looking a little bit cleaner through the garage and the warehouse this time by. Into the right-hander, past the barrier and the DC3 where she made a mistake about 3 laps ago, spinning the car around. Let's see, RS500 not going to be able to do it here. And so Fear the Fun, at least for another lap, hangs on to P4. Joe Beardy is in 6th position, followed by Kuda93, Slow Motion Fire in 8th, Modern Weapon in 9th, Odds Rex in 10th. Woo! Airborne. If you're just now joining us here for week number 50, race number 6 of the season, we had an absolute beaut. Fear the Fun now falls out of the picture. Oops Arena getting by for P4. We had a great race out at Laguna Seca just a bit ago. Of course, all of the broadcasts here for season 50 they can be watched back here on Twitch by just going over to the twitch.tv/Xventure/videos and clicking the past broadcast tab. I'm Dustin Moore. Appreciate you tuning in. We had a resubscribe by Born as Ghost earlier, 23 months. EOR Charlie T with the follow. And Blackbird 2000 with the follow. And that really is the absolute most I ask of the viewers. If you're enjoying your time here and you're not yet following the channel, please do. Makes it easier for you to find me in the future in the follow channel section of Twitch as you log in. And oh, what a mess we have back here. 6th, 7th, and 8th. It looks like maybe a back marker was off the pace, locking it up there, coming out of the garage. Joe Beardy in 6th, Slow Motion Fire in 7th. Actually, that was not a back marker. I think that was Modern Weapon. I believe that was Modern Weapon who had to hit the brakes. No, it was Slow Motion Fire, I think. It was Slow Motion Fire in the M2, having to hit the brakes to avoid a head-on collision with the immovable barriers. I mean, these look like those ones that you might see out on your local track that every once in a while somebody gets tangled up in and they move a little bit, restrain the car, and keep things safe. But these ones here, oh, I tell you what, brick wall. They have no give. No give whatsoever. There's Fear the Fun. After relinquishing P4 back to Oops Arena. Oops Arena had that incident about 6-7 laps back, getting the vehicle spun around the RS 500. The Kazi. But back up to P4. The bad thing here for Oops Arena is really lost a lot of ground on Cratrim and Enraged Barney, who are in 3rd and 2nd respectively, but is regaining that ground. So all is not lost here for a podium finish for Oops Arena. Things looking really, really good for our race leader, LS Subaru, in 1st. Looking to pick up a 2nd victory here in Season 50. Enraged Barney in 2nd. If Enraged Barney is able to somehow find a way around LS Subaru, it would have to be a mistake on the part of LS Subaru, I gotta believe. But if Enraged Barney able to find a way around, that would be Enraged Barney's 1st victory here in Season 50. And would be 6 different drivers in 6 races. But that's going to be a lot of work there for Barney to make that happen. And if you're just joining us, wondering, Forza Spec Racing Series, what is this? How? When? Where? Can I participate? Reddit.com/r/FM4. There you go. There's the link in the chat. Click that. It'll take you over to the subreddit of the Forza Spec Racing Series. Take a gander at how they have things set up here for Season 50. That will change for Season 51. This is a special, unique situation that they've got going on here to celebrate their 50th season. But for Season 51, they will be back to their usual format, in which they have one vehicle and one vehicle only. They will tell you all the upgrades that you have to apply to the vehicle to get it to the A600 specification. Well, I say A600. It could be the B PEI spec. It could be C. It could be D. It could be S. They'll give you the specs that you need, or the upgrades that you have to have. Any of those components which are tunable, you're free to tune to your desire. There are some assists that you can turn on, others that must be forced off. And we'll be calling you out here. Calling your name as you get around the track here in FM4. And it doesn't matter if you've got it for the Xbox One or the PC. Either one works. It doesn't matter if you like to race with controller or with a wheel. Either one is accepted. Get out here and have fun. It's a beer league. It's mandatory fun. If you're not having fun in FM4, you shall be punished. HDM, will this continue with the new Forza? Yes, it will. Yes, it will. And we're all, I say we, and I'm speaking on behalf of the FM4 crew that put these events on, because it gives them a new platform. It gives them new options to try to make things interesting and exciting for the drivers. So whenever that is slated to release, the plans will be put into motion to transition into the new title. It may not happen right away, because it'll all be dependent on the game's release date, and then also they want to give drivers enough time to rack up the credits that they may need to purchase whatever vehicle is decided upon for the forthcoming seasons. Watching Oops Arena here to see if she can catch up to Cratrim. It looks like she is gaining ground, and not too far away is going to be second of Enraged Barney. Almost on the opposite side of the track is LS Subaru. So Oops Arena, it's going to be challenging here in the remaining 3 races of the season after tonight to have a go at that championship. But if there's any season to make it happen, it's going to be this one. Because while LS Subaru is doing a heck of a job in the Aston Martin VA Vantage, as we just saw out at Laguna Seca, as we saw in week number 2, where LS Subaru was unable to to finish out in front, that the championship is very much up for grabs here. This is not going to be like previous seasons where going into race number 9, Subaru's got it locked up. I don't think. That could change, I guess, depending on how how week 4 goes. 1 week from tonight, right here on X-Venture, 8 p.m. Eastern. But I would say the odds are pretty high at this point that we could have a 3, perhaps 4 driver shootout for the season championship out at Circuit of the Americas 2 weeks from tonight. Oh, and we've got one of the back markers. I think that's a back marker. I keep saying back marker, but it's not. It's not for certain. It is, though. It is P12 of Onion Too Many Eyes getting spun around there in that final right-hander in the VW Beetle. There we go. Getting airborne is Cratrium. Cratrium able to get a little bit more separation here with Oops Arena in 4th. They have to go right there where the track diverges and then left here as they go through the garage. And then curve to the right here. You can't take that outer perimeter fence line. You have to go through the warehouse. And then whoop, out you go into the taxiway here. All these DC3, like we're... I think the newest aircraft that they have modeled in Forza Motorsport on any track, and it's not even that young, is the Boeing 747 out at the Top Gear test track. T-Praise in the chat saying, send it, CT, send it. Cratrium with the most championships to any one driver's name here in F4. 10 in total. The LS Subaru's 8. Got a battle for 7th continuing on. That's Joe Beardy in 7th. Slow Motion Fire in 8th. Modern Weapon in 9th. Let's go to Slow Motion Fire here briefly. Didn't they just retire that? Are you talking about the Top Gear track? Oh, and we've got cars. They are bunched up here in the garage. Joe Beardy now moves up to 7th. Modern Weapon 8th. Audrex 9th. Slow Motion Fire in 10th. Patches Riley there in 13th. We'll try to catch here on the X-Venture replay what happened, but I have to believe it was another scenario of, hey, let me bounce my car off the barrier. But if you've got surrounding vehicles, that can go wrong, and it did. We'll take a look at that here in just a moment. The 747, yeah, the 747. I think they are finishing their last one or two. But yeah, no more purchases. No more purchases. The end of the 747. Which is interesting because it looked like for a bit there that aircraft were only getting bigger. Yeah, the what was that? The Airbus A380. And you're just like, oh my gosh, these aircraft are getting ginormous. But now, as they make these things more efficient and longer as opposed to taller, the double-decker cabin thing is going away. Yeah, way to be up with the times, Forza, with your DC3s and your 747s. All right, let's go to Cratrium now. Well, we are with Cratrium already. Enraged Barney is within view here. Able to get around Born as Ghost. Nice pass. to keep the separation between he and Cratrim there in the Aston Martin V8 Vantage, or excuse me, in the M2, the Beamer. Let's go back to that incident there in that battle for 7th. Been sitting on this replay for a bit. Let's go take a look back and see if we can spot what happened here. Of course, we're looking at Cratrim right now on the replay block, but yeah, here we go. I swapped views, and gosh, I can't even tell there, but it looks like maybe Joe Beardy. Well, I'm putting the blame on Joe Beardy, but I think Joe Beardy hadn't even entered the garage yet. Let me see. We'll let it run back one more time here. As Cratrim now moves up to 2nd. Enraged Barney dropping back to P3. Let's see if I can spot this. Yeah, Joe Beardy hadn't even entered the garage yet. Yeah, gosh, I have to know who was out in 7th at the time, and I just can't tell. There were 2 cars that I know who are already tangled up, just as Joe Beardy and 2 others were entering and caused all kinds of fun. Here comes Cratrim now, our new P2 driver, with 7 laps to go here, basically. Probably way too far back to catch LS Subaru. It was Subaru has pretty well established early on that this was going to be an Aston Martin V8 victory out here at the test track. So unless something goes terribly wrong for Subaru, should be able to pick up his 2nd win here of season 50. Cratrim looking to be in good position here in the M2 with Enraged Barney dropping back in the Beetle. Oops Serena in 4th. I wonder if Oof Serena will be able to vie for position there, P3. Let's take a look at the how things are shaping up tire-wise on the Beetle. Oh gosh, Enraged Barney already at 58%. Going to be flirting with 60s and 70s here shortly, which is going to make that front end pretty squirrely. The only thing that might save that is the short wheelbase may make understeer somewhat limited as Enraged Barney just bouncing it off the wall. And then if we go back to Oops Arena, driving the RS 500, quite a bit less tire wear up front, maybe helping to make the RS 500 a bit more controllable. So we'll see. We'll see if Oops Arena here is able to close that gap and have a shot at a podium finish. You know when you're at the baseball park, you're T-ball, or as you got older and played baseball, and sometimes at the ball field, you'll see the sign on the chain link fence that says "Do not hit balls in the fence," because then it would like deform the fence and just, I guess, irritating for the people who maintain the fields and all that. Well, somebody ought to put a sign there in the garage: "Do not hit car off of guardrail." They do have simulation damage turned off. They don't do this for every event. Usually the simulation damage is turned on, but there is no pit stop here. There is no pit lane at this track, and therefore the responsible thing to keep drivers from being out of the race early is to turn that damage off. Well, simultaneously, that allows drivers to kind of have the mindset of, oh, okay, well, I can go full bore into that corner and just ricochet off the barriers with no consequence. Now, they'll get away with it here, but for the majority of the tracks, you cannot. If it has a pit lane here in FM4, simulation damage will be turned on. Our race leader, LS Subaru, in the Aston Martin V8 Vantage. Cratcham in second, Enraged Barney in third. And Cratcham did make the pass not too long ago. Now, Enraged Barney hasn't fallen too far back, so we'll see here in the final 3.5 laps here out at the test track, at least for these drivers, as LS Subaru starts lap number 27. Can Enraged Barney get that spot back? And then will Oof Serena, who we see here in the RS500, make it a three-way battle? Whee! There goes Herbie. There goes Herbie. So many times here with the camera on Enraged Barney with the Beetle. That second bump out here at the track, I just see the car get up on the two wheels, and I'm like, oh, man, next time by, he's going to roll that thing. Hasn't happened yet. Maybe won't. They got the roof rack on that thing, too. We got a couple of vehicles now just acting as bystanders. There in turn number 1, they've opted to sit the rest of this one out. That would be Onion with Too Many Eyes and Patches Riley. 13 drivers in both races here this evening. I'm telling you, folks, I know we've got a few more people that have joined us here in this broadcast. If you want to race with FM4, heading into the new Forza Motorsport title, get involved early, soonest. Because if this becomes a battle for 23 grid spots, like I predict it will, you want to have first right of refusal. If you're a prior driver, you'll have preference as to whether or not you want to race in the new Forza Motorsport season when it happens. Don't try to get involved after FM4 releases, because then you're going to be in a dash to register to be in the what's it called, the top 23, I guess. I don't know. There's not really an official term for it. LS Subaru crosses the line at the end of lap number 29, or at the beginning of lap number 29. Lap 29 is the cooldown lap, the end of lap 28, and picks up the victory. And for the first time here in Season 50, we have a repeat P1 finisher in LS Subaru. Followed by Cratcham, able to hold on to P2, and I think Cratcham's highest finish here in Season 50. Oops Arena in third after getting around Enraged Barney. Actually, Enraged Barney was in second, so I must have missed it. But it looks like Enraged Barney dropping back 2 spots there on that final lap. Followed by, oh gosh, I think they're all out of order. This is one of those situations where I think they're making it difficult for me to tell who finished where. Oh well. Hey folks, when we go into this commercial break, I promise you're not going to miss anything, so hang tight. We're going to talk to our drivers here in the Driver's Spotlight, get their thoughts on this 6th race and final race of the evening. And then we go into week number 4, 1 week from tonight. We'll talk about the races that are scheduled for that one, and I promise you don't want to miss that preview. We have quite the duo for week number 4. And then we've got our 9th and final race that will be out at Circuit of the Americas here in 2 weeks' time. So we'll talk all about that. We'll talk to our drivers. I'll preview what's also coming up here on the channel, although you can see some of the slates as they go through here. You're watching the conclusion of week number 3, season 50, Forza Spec Racing Series. I'm Dustin Moore, X Adventure, live on Twitch TV. I'll be right back. How's it going? Happy Tuesday evening. Or maybe it's Wednesday morning if you're like LS Subaru and on the other side of the date line. Welcome back to X Venture here live on Twitch TV. I'm Dustin Moore. And man, what a day we had. I mean, it's kind of the tale of two races, right? And this happens. These things are more frequent than not. But we had an absolute humdinger of a race there out at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca for the last race of the first half of season 50, and then this one here at the test track a little bit more subdued, although we had a change of position there in the last few laps for second, third, and fourth. So it's going to be really curious how things shape up in the championship point tally after tonight. Slow Motion Fire and Company, they'll get those things calculated, and you can actually check out the point total over at their subreddit, reddit.com/r/FM4. So if you can't wait until next Tuesday's broadcast, you got to know who sits where coming out of week number 3. Then that's the place that you can definitely find it. If you go to the season 50, click that thread open, and then not too far down in that opening post, there will be a link. I think it's in orange that says points. Click that and you'll be able to check out the point tally. Otherwise, we'll have that for you here a week from tonight. 8 p.m. Eastern, week number 4. It's going to be really, really exciting. And I still think, despite LS Subaru's victory here in race number 6, that the championship is still going to be open to, I don't know, maybe 3, 4 drivers. We'll see. All right, well, let's go ahead and turn our attention here to the driver spotlight. SDR Onion, too many eyes. Not the way that you'd like things to go here as you wrapped up week number 3. It looks like you were watching from the sideline there out at the test track.
Yeah, I underestimated how much practice actually helps. I just kind of like came in here. I sat down on my computer 5 o'clock, and I was like, I'll join. I'll join. So I boot up, and I'm like, hey guys, what car should I run? And the very first car that they shout out, NSX. I'm like, all right, bet. So I put a number board on it. I load in the race. I get a tune, and immediately it's ridiculously crazy hard to drive on the first lap. It took me like a good 10, 12 laps to get used to it. And then after that, I had some decent pace at Laguna Seca. And then in between, I was like, all right, guys, what car are we running for test track? Barney shouts out the Beetle. I'm like, all right, bet. I back out, put a number board on it, load up a tune. Oh my God, that's a terrible car. Like, it's so bad. But I don't know. I'm just out here to have fun. I'm so done with this game at this point.
Oh, no.
I'm just out here having fun.
Well, hey, you know what? Well, one, I'm glad you prefaced to save face and protect your reputation. Yeah, SDR Onion just kind of hopping in here, having not participated earlier on here in season 50. So just jumping in here in week number 3, and that's really cool. I mean, that's the great thing about FM4 is that you don't have to have the prior week's experience, so you can just jump in here if you'd like. So good on you for doing that. Yeah. I don't know. You mentioned the NSX and how tricky that was, but then the Beetle, obviously kind of a disparity between vehicle performance there. You got one that's in the S-Class PI because of the build from past Forza Motorsport titles past, and then you got the Beetle, which is under PI, I guess under leveled based on or compared to the other vehicles that there are to choose from. So you really had opposite ends of the spectrum here for season 50. So it doesn't surprise me that things were kind of iffy there.
Yeah, no, I loved. Once I got the hang of the NSX, it was pretty quick. I could definitely see how that's one of the faster cars.
Yeah,
and definitely see how. Congrats, Fear, as well. By the way, he won with that car. I definitely could have been up there if I had, practiced.
Yeah.
Known
Team
about
no
it.
practice.
Figured it out, done anything. Even just like 10 laps before the race, I probably could have been doing okay. But, we take them as they come.
Take them as they come and do the best you can. You mentioned you're done with the game. You're ready to move on to what's next. And, of course, we'll it sounds like we'll have a little bit more of that detail here tomorrow. And hopefully that release date, if it is announced, is sooner rather than later. But we'll see. What about week number 4? We've got a couple of the Nürburgrings, the GP and the Nordschleife on tap. Are you planning to participate in those?
I will see. It depends on what time I sit down on my computer. If I sit down at 5 o'clock, I'm here again.
Okay.
If I sit down after 5 o'clock, I'll watch the stream.
Okay. All right. Well, either side, either out on the track or just here as a spectator. That's all fine by me.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let me see if I can't come. Let me turn to the chat real quick. Chat, help me out here real fast. Just give me an obscure question that I can ask our drivers here in the driver spotlight, and we'll do that. Oh, you want me to ask you about 24 Hours of Daytona?
No,
you don't want me to ask
don't.
you. But you typed it in the chat.
What are you talking about?
Huh?
What are you talking about?
You typed it. I don't.
No, I didn't.
What, somebody else got command of your Twitch name then?
Dustin, you might be losing it here.
All right, now you're just trying to mess with me. Blaine Barney asks if you're down with the meatball and pickle sub.
No, Barney, you're wrong, and your opinion is bad, and you should feel ashamed.
Yeah, I agree. He had so many people on board with the meatball sub, and then threw pickles in there, and everybody.
Meatball sub, beautiful.
Yeah,
Pickles, what the heck, man?
I know. Ghibli asks, Zig or Zag?
Oh, that's a toughie. I'm personally more of a Zig kind of guy.
Okay.
Although I see both sides. I can see the appeal of zagging, but I'm a Zig kind of guy.
I feel like the Zag is a little bit more reckless, whereas the Zig is like refined. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, no, you get it. You get it.
Oh man. Okay. Well, short of any other better question for me to ask, gosh, I really fouled up on that. That was something that I intended to do here throughout the season, and I didn't even think about it beforehand. But Daytona 24, you typed it in the chat. Don't refute it.
Yeah.
You were a participant. Did you
I was
race?
a participant. Yeah.
How did it go for you? How did it go?
Oh, we
Were
won.
you with SDR, or was it kind of a hodgepodge
yeah.
of racers?
It was me, Barney, and Storm, and we won.
That's right.
Yeah, we're the
one
goats.
for which for overall, or was it the or was it the class? I
LMP2
can't remember.
class.
Which one?
LMP2 class.
The LMP2s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Barney's been going on about it all day.
Yeah. Well, and so I don't blame you that you say, hey, you're done with this game, because Tora had said like that's their last endurance event that they're doing on Forza Motorsport 7. So they're ready to move on to the next thing. So it seems like the only thing that's kind of hanging out here in the Forza community on FM7 is the Forza Spec Racing Series. I know that's not true, but I just, in my opinion, it's the coolest one remaining on FM7.
They are some pretty cool guys.
Yeah.
Tora might be running Sebring depending on when the new game releases.
Okay. They might run Sebring. All right.
But yeah, I don't know. Like the Daytona race was decided by disconnects. Only 6 of the 66 cars that entered didn't disconnect at some point.
Oh.
So it's just like everybody's kind of Barney, get. What don't I mean, Barney? Type it in chat, Barney.
Use your words. Use your words.
What don't I mean?
All right. Well, hey. Hold on. Gosh, geez, I almost closed out the stream. Onion, great having you jump into the action here tonight. Hopefully, maybe you can make it happen in week number 4, and then perhaps the finale there in week 5 out at COTA. Any shout outs you want to give here? I know you already talked about your Tora Daytona 2014, but any other shout outs here this evening?
Just the boys, AMS Storm. That other guy who happened to be in the car. Can you drag Barney in here right now? Can we do double interview?
I can't, because Barney's not in the queue. There's only one spot in the queue, and that's LS Subaru. And I don't think LS Subaru wants to talk to you.
No, wait. You can drag Barney from the lobby, from the race night lobby.
Well,
chat.
I'm not gonna volunteer him.
Come on. I'm volunteering him. Get him in here.
You want me to try to interview 2 people at once? I can barely do one person at once.
No, he says it. He says drag me in.
I gotta get to our race winner though. I do. I gotta wrap
but
here.
Barney's a race winner too.
he was a race winner, but not the race winner tonight. I gotta get Subaru in here.
All right, I appreciate you, Dustin. Thank you.
Yeah, I love the idea, but I'll have to take a rain check on that one.
Okay.
All right, Onion. Take care, and hope to see you in week 4.
Thank you.
All right, there we go. LS Subaru now joins us, and congrats, LS Subaru. It took 4 races, but gosh darn it, you're a repeat winner here in season 50. It went pretty smooth too, just as kind of you prognosticated there in the Aston Martin V8 Vantage. I mean, you were just on it.
Yeah, it was a pretty comfortable race for me. Got a great time for qualifying, and then just carried momentum into the race. Didn't really make too many mistakes, if not any at all. Yeah, it was just a matter of just keeping it clean and just getting to the finish.
Yeah, taking a look at the standings here, entering week number 3, and as it's annotated there in gold, there were 4 different drivers with 4 victories here through the first 4 races, and so to pick up another win here in week number 3, that'll help boost the points for you. And separate you from Oof Serena, AMS Storm, who was a non-participant here this evening, and then even Kratrim able to get a looks like a P4 finish. No, I have that wrong. I'm looking at the wrong stuff. Getting a P2 finish out here at the test track. So you are getting some separation there points total wise. And now things go out to the Nürburgring GP and the Nordschleife. You talked about your affinity for the test track. You had your first FM4 win here. You thought it was an underrated track, but now we go out into the real deal of the Grand Prix out at the Nürburgring and then the Nordschleife. What are your thoughts there? Are you predicting a win or 2 in that one, or is that going to be challenging to do based on what vehicles you have remaining to choose from?
I will be predicting at least a podium for both tracks.
Okay, well that's the low hanging fruit there. A podium on one or both.
I can't guarantee a win for both races because there's still some fast drivers in this championship that still have their NSX to use. So I got to keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, that's very true. Fear the Fun opting for the NSX out at Mazda race with Laguna Seca, and as such getting the win. There are definitely drivers who still have that vehicle in their back pocket to choose from. What about you, though? I mean, we haven't seen you in the TBR. We haven't seen you, I don't think, in the Beetle, right? And then what else? The M2?
Yep.
And then the 360 Stradale.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised that the Challenge Stradale hasn't been used more. What is it about that vehicle that makes it not as competitive as I would have thought?
I think it's because it's one of the few cars that has sport tires, so people will be most likely saving that car for the endurance race for the less tire wear.
Okay.
Because the sport tires wear a lot less than race tires. So people are most likely saving the Ferrari and the TVR for the endurance race in week 5.
Interesting. I won't hate on that at all. The 360 Challenge Stradale out at Circuit of the Americas sounds like a great combo to me. And then with the lessened tire wear, thanks to the tires, that will definitely play into pitch strategy in a big way. So cool insight there. I think I already know the answer to this, but here we are, 6 races in. What has been the most fun for you? Which car, which track have been the most enjoyable?
To be honest, I'm not sure actually, because
they're all equal.
I think the most fun would probably be Suzuka and the Ford.
In the RS 500, yeah. Which you actually where did you finish on that one? You finished in, it looks like, second behind Oof Serena on that one.
Yep, behind Serena and ahead of Storm.
Okay.
That was I thought that was a really fun race, just with the just wrestling a hard to drive car around wet conditions around a pretty challenging circuit. I think it was just a really good combo for just really trying to. It just really kept my concentration up, I guess. Really kicked me into gear.
And then when we have races like we had just now out at the test track where there's no pit lane that turns the simulation damage off, I'll have to double check. I don't know if simulation is going to be on or off for the Nordschleife. There is definitely a pit lane there, but because it is such a massive track, the FM4 organizers might have already decided to turn sim damage off there. What's your preference? Do you prefer having the sim damage on there, or is it just a nuisance to you?
I think sim damage is probably like a better choice. If you're gonna go for like a more competitive scene, then having like the highest damage setting would probably be the most suitable. I do know that I think the last time we raced at the Nordschleife, we did have sim damage on. That was coincidentally also in season 42 in the Trans Ams.
Interesting.
But yeah, so I think sim damage will most likely be used for the Nordschleife, though I can't guarantee it.
Yeah, people have to be very, very careful then if that is the case. And it's not the 24-hour Nürburgring where you have the GP track to kind of work with and gain some separation on the field, but rather everybody starting out there on the Nordschleife, and then that's it, the green hell. You're just there for the entirety of it. And of course, as we know, very early on there on the green hell, a lot of corners. I mean, the whole thing is a very complex circuit, but when you're alongside 13 other drivers on the track, it can make it that much more congested. So we'll see how that goes. Definitely looking forward to it. When I saw week 4 being I call it the Oktoberfest of January here, I was pretty excited about that. So well done, LS Subaru. Second victory here after getting the first victory in the season back in race number 1. Finally here in race number 6. I know. Getting the second one. We'll see you 1 week from tonight. Well done.
Thank you.
All right. And we've got Barney now joining us. Barney, you said go ahead and pull you into the race chat here with SDR Onion. I don't know if I could handle that. My mind might just explode if I had 2 other people that I had to talk to. But your night here this evening, it looked good. Out there at the test track, I think you were in P2 for a good chunk of it after getting around Oof Serena, but then fell back in the last 2 laps. Did I see that correctly?
Yeah,
P4?
it was. No, I stayed in P3 by the end, but yeah, as soon as I lapped Born as Ghost, I hit the jump on like lap, I don't know, 20-ish,
Yeah.
and for some reason the Beetle just went off the jump wrong, landed on 2 wheels, and I rolled for 2 wheels for about a good 100 feet, went way wide into turn 1, and Kratom just flew past me. I had nothing I could really do.
Yeah, you were living on the edge there in that Beetle quite a bit. I mean, I saw, even not on the lap that you're referring to, but on that second little jump after turn 1, it seemed like you were getting on the 2 left wheels pretty consistently, and I'm like, man, he's going to roll this thing.
Yeah, it almost happened at least a good 10, maybe 12 times out of this track. It's the Beetle. It's good at accelerating out of the corner, like out of the final corner, but it's just any bump, it wants to roll. It's just such a high like center of gravity. It just wants to roll over.
When people play video games, sometimes like when they're trying to like as if they can get some sort of extra vision if they move their head or angle themselves on the TV, whatever game they're playing. I mean, it's like something that just gamers just naturally do, or even non-gamers. Like people, you give them a controller and they like try to move their head around. What about you when you're in a car that has this tendency to get up onto 2 wheels? Do you try to shift the weight of the car with your own position and then of course realize that doesn't help at all?
I mean, it doesn't actually help, but I think mentally it helps me a lot. I don't actually turn the controller like some people do, but I will lean my head.
Do you?
Like when I'm in a big, yeah. If it's just not turning like I want to, I just lean over and hope for the best.
It's just like a natural instinct, I guess, and you're saying it maybe mentally helps you out a little bit, huh? Okay.
Yeah, it's almost like I'm a part of the car.
Hey, I'm not gonna blame you. There's been plenty of times here on stream, people have seen me like doing weird change in position for no reason whatsoever. But it's just, I guess our minds work that way. So who knows? What about you, Enraged Barney? I was thinking there maybe here at the test track, if you were able to keep pace with Subaru, that perhaps you could be the 6th driver with a victory here in season 50. It didn't pan out that way, as Subaru was just kind of gone in the V8 Vantage. But with what cars you have remaining here and 3 races still on the schedule, do you have a victory in you? You're gonna win one.
Listen, I'm gonna say Nürburgring GP circuit. That's where it's gonna happen. I've got my NSX saved up. I was gonna use it at Coda, But I decided, no, my best chance of a win is for everyone else to use their NSXs right off the line and have me save mine for one of the end races.
You
I
said the
think I've got,
GP.
yeah, the GP, not the
Okay.
Nordschleife.
All right. I'm
Because
writing it down now. There are a lot of times I forget things from week to week, but I'm writing this one now that you're calling a win out at the GP.
I'm calling it because we got Subaru, he's used his NSX.
Yep.
Fear and Kracham have both used their NSX,
Uh-huh.
I think.
Uh-huh.
Joe's used it. And Storm's dropped out. Serena's used her NSX.
Has
All
she?
fast drivers have. Yeah, she used it at Suzuka. That's how she won.
That's right. That's Suzuki. Yeah, okay. It was. Yeah.
So everyone's used. All the fast drivers has used the NSX. So I think it's my turn to win because I know Subaru's going to be the M2, and that's going to be a slow car. Maybe it'll run out of fuel. So I think the NSX is going to get me a win at the GP circuit.
Okay. All right. Well, did you say AMS Storm too? Did it?
Amos Storm actually, I think he said he dropped out. I think he said he's done with Forza until
Okay.
FM8 comes out.
Gotcha.
Because after me, him, and Onion won at Daytona, he just wanted to retire a champion. Oh no, I
Hey,
made that. That
Tom
was a
Brady,
fake
take
reason. I
note.
made that up. Don't hold me to that. That's not a true reason. I don't know the actual reason. I made that up.
Okay.
But
All right. Fine. We won't go and spout that out and make people upset. We won't do that. Okay. Fair enough. All right. So the GP and then the Nordschleife. I was asking. Let me see here. Onion typing. Barney got carried at Daytona. Oh.
you're not even listening. He couldn't. This Onion guy couldn't even win a stint at Daytona. But I did. I won my stint.
What if Onion comes in for the GP race, although already used the NSX, so that puts him at a disadvantage, right?
Yeah, he's not gonna have a chance. No chance.
Onion saying I won stint 12. He won stint 12
He didn't
at
even finish
Daytona.
stint 12. He did not finish stint 12. Don't. It was a full lobby disconnect in stint 12. Don't listen to this guy.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna. You know what? I can't trust either of you. I'm gonna have to just go look at the
He is-
Torah
he is
points
gaslighting.
tally and results.
This Onion guy is gaslighting and manipulating you, Dustin. Don't believe him.
HDM says, "Do I smell a rivalry brewing?" Yeah, if we can get Onion and Barney on the track at once, might be.
We had a rivalry for about a week going into the Daytona qualifying.
Yeah.
He beat me in qualifying, but I ended up beating him in the race, so it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. I won. And then I beat him this week, so
Okay. Well, let's keep that up. Let's keep that spirit going into the next Forza Motorsport title, and then who knows? Here in FM4, it could be a nice little friendly rivalry brewing there. Ghibli says onions have layers, and then I'll just say that Barneys have purple fur. I don't know. I don't know what the
I think Scales would be correct. I think he's a T-Rex.
scales.
Yeah, he's a T-Rex.
Yeah, but there's nothing about Barney that looks like scales at all.
But he's not furry either.
It's like fake I don't know, whatever they make those outfits out of.
I mean, to be fair, my profile picture is more of like Crayola instead of either scales or fur. So
All right, okay. Well, hey, good job here tonight. Despite dropping back there out at the test track, we'll see how things go. I'm really excited about Nürburgring. I mean, the Laguna Seca track was fun here this evening, but I don't know. You guys, I think, are going to really turn it up here in week number 4, especially with everybody knowing that, hey, we got to make it happen here if anybody's going to have a run at the championship that isn't named LS Subaru. So do your best. Turn it up to 11.
I'll try.
All right. Thank you so much, Barney, and we'll see you next week. These interviews are getting out of control. Getting out of control. All right. FM4 moderator Slow Motion Fire. I was going to call you SMF. I don't think I've ever called you that before.
I don't believe anybody has, really.
Welcome into the driver's spotlight. Man, you guys had like a crazy back there in that battle for 7th. I don't know if it was lap. Gosh, what did we run? We ran 28 laps there at the test track. I don't know, maybe lap 22, 23 or something. Something crazy happened in the garage. Can you tell us what happened there?
Patches Riley got sideways going through there, and it just stacked everybody up. Joe and Modern were able to sneak through pretty quick and run out to catch Kuda, and then I ended up back there with Audrex, and we battled the remainder of the race then.
Maybe it's a wrong assumption, but man, when you guys turn off the simulation damage there, you guys act like pool balls and just go crazy into that guard, into the barrier that was in the garage. I have a feeling that some of that may have played into the incident.
Yeah, and you expect that in some of these races. This is just kind of a for fun. We'll turn the damage off. We'll see how fast you can get around there. That was a layout around test track we had not run before, and it was proven to be difficult to get your braking point to get into that parking garage. It was such a narrow section of the track that if you weren't on your braking point, you were in that wall.
I don't think you say on your braking point. I don't think anybody's brake lights lit up at all going into that corner. Everybody knew they're forcing us on the low line through at the first part where the paths diverge. So you force them into the low part of that second turn. I'll just call it turn 2, and then dead into the garage, which it was just like everybody just decided to ricochet there. So it's fun, though. I mean, it does change things up a little bit. However, I was talking with LS Subaru, the Nordschleife. That's kind of the question mark for me now is, do you guys have sim damage on that one, or are you guys turning that one off as well?
We will be running with sim damage. There is a pit lane here, so.
There you go. There's the answer. It does have a pit lane. I just didn't know with the track being so long if you guys were like giving mercy to the drivers, but there you go. Everybody has to act accordingly there on that one.
Yeah, sometimes in the past we've run it without sim damage, but since we just had that race at test track, I figured we'd turn sim damage back on for this one and make you work for it a little bit.
Okay. I thought that was the case. I was like, man, I think they had run with sim damage off at the Nordschleife before, but your point makes perfect sense that you've already done it once here in season 50, not going to do it twice. So that'll be interesting. For the first time here in season 50, LS Subaru is a repeat winner. I don't know if you've had a chance to tally up the points. It looks like maybe you did post something in Discord. How are we looking in going into into week 4?
Yeah, Modern Weapon was putting those in as we were going. So it's Subaru's still sitting up top. Then it gets to be pretty close with Storm, Serena, and Cratrium. And then it kind of diverges after that into a lot of chaos.
Storm, come on, come back.
Yeah,
get back over here.
We'll see what's going on there. He kind of made it sound like he won't be running the rest of the season, but maybe we'll convince him otherwise.
Maybe it was like a fake retirement from Forza Motorsport 7 and gonna come back to give LS Subaru a run for the money.
Yeah, we'll just have to see what happens.
We're past the halfway point here in season 50. You guys celebrating the 50 seasons, but then also now here in 2023 going into year 10. Just kind of your thoughts, how the season's going. I mean, obviously it'd be hard to do this regularly just because of how much more work it puts on the drivers with tuning and upgrading, and then if they so wish, adding liveries. But pretty successful celebration with season 50, you think?
Yeah, it's been good to see all the different drivers, some drivers that haven't won in quite a while. Shout out to Fear for picking up a win tonight at Laguna Seca. I've enjoyed running it, but boy, have I been terrible at this. I have not been able to make anything work this season. I think I got a good strategy and it just totally falls apart. So as much as I've liked doing this, I'm looking forward to going back to the spec builds and the spec cars, because I generally do a little better with that. So
back to normalcy. You want. Okay. All right.
New car every race is just not working for me.
Yeah. Well, what do they say? Best laid plans. Like, you just never know. You got to plan until you get punched in the mouth, as what Tyson says, or whoever. Yeah, no, I've definitely enjoyed it, and certainly as the points are shaping up here, thanks to, again, Modern Weapon putting those together real quick. Emma Storm, if you're listening, please don't give in yet. Hope to see you and, of course, everybody who's raced here in Season 50 up to this point. With the 2 German tracks that we have, the Nordschleife and the GP, that's going to be fun. And then Circuit of the Americas there in week number 5. Good stuff. Are you going to be watching tomorrow to see what's going on with FM, the next Forza Motorsport title? Or are you just going to catch the news later after the fact? And just how far on the edge of your seat are you, if at all?
Well, I got to figure out exactly what time it is where I'm at, but I'm going to try and watch it.
I think it's 2 p.m.
Given the
Eastern.
chance. 2 p.m.
So
Eastern. Okay.
I think 1 o'clock your time.
Yeah, so we'll see. I might have it on in the background while I'm working.
The news, the info will be there after the fact either way. So, but it'll be interesting. I'm curious, and then of course see how quickly FM4 is able to respond. I think you and I had talked about this a little bit. Got to give a little bit of a grace period for drivers to kind of put some money into their virtual bank account there to purchase the cars that are needed. So we'll see when we get there, but I'm curious. I'm interested.
Yeah, we'll see what actually said tomorrow. I think the Forza Monthly, the day after, that they're supposedly dedicating to all of motorsport. That might be the one that's more interesting to actually watch. I expect to see a little more out of that one as far as game details and not just a look how pretty it is show.
Yeah, they tend to do that for the broader Xbox audience, where it's like fixated on look how beautiful this thing is, and then you get to the Forza Monthlies and it gets a little bit more granular into things like physics and I guess more of the competition-oriented conversations of the title.
Yeah,
so,
the actual gameplay of it.
Yeah.
Versus the
tech demo.
Yeah, exactly.
Good stuff.
So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of that, because we know nothing to this point.
I know. I mean, a few details from the Summer Game Fest from last year. They talked about tire compounds and stuff like that, but I feel like the nitty gritty here is still to come. So we shall see.
Everybody's been joking with the river at Maple Valley. Perhaps we'll see a river at Dubai for this showcase.
They're just going to put a river everywhere so that they can
yes.
really show off the water feature. All right. Okay, well, hey, so much to fire. Good stuff today. Obviously, like you said, this season hasn't gone entirely to plan for you, but it's worked out wonderfully in terms of, I think, the overall competition and sharing the love with some winners. LS Subaru just now getting a repeat victory here in race number 6. We'll catch you next week, and have a great rest of your week here.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Dustin.
Alrighty, that's it. What a fun one. I mean, like I said, it was a tale of 2 races here. Laguna Seca was just like a super uber competitive all the way to the final lap, the final feet there toward the finish line. And not so much here, although there was a change of position in the last couple of laps there in the top 5 out at the test track. But things will really, I think the driver's medal will definitely be tested in week number 4. Again, the Nürburgring GP, followed by the Nordschleife, and then Circuit of the Americas there in week number 9. As a reminder, I failed in getting the form ready. However, I will do that here after this broadcast. So those of you who tune in on Friday or on Sunday, if you say, hey, Dustin, I'm a subscriber and I want to name one of the corners out at Circuit of the Americas, just let me know. I'll get you the link. And then that way you can name a corner. And so when we are there out at Circuit of the Americas in week number 5, race number 9, I'll be calling out your corner. If you are a subscriber to the channel, just one way I can kind of give back to those of you who have gone above and beyond with regards to supporting the stream. Those who followed here today, to include Mattman2424 there during one of the driver spotlight interviews. Thank you so much for the follow. Same goes to Blackbird 2000, DOR Charlie, and again, Born as Ghost, 23 months, closing in on 2 years of subscriber support to the channel. Whew. Whew, good stuff. Good stuff. I'll get that link for the forum up soon. It's a good way. It's a good way to come up with some either funny corner names or maybe serious ones, whichever y'all like. It's your corner, and I want to name it now. Oh gosh. JG Wentworth commercials. That's where we're going now. Slow motion fire. That's what we're trying to do here. Oh gosh. All right, y'all. Hey, I appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully you had a good time with us here tonight. Have a lovely hump day Wednesday and the rest of the week. I'll be back on Friday at approximately 6 p.m. Eastern. Going to be doing a little bit of American Truck Sim, as you can see there on the screen. Got a little bit of that in on Sunday after the Rise Son of Rome playthrough, but then this coming Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern, we'll be playing 4 hours of Hunt Down, a 2D side-scroller pixel art style game. I'm looking forward to that one. We'll do that for the next 2 Sundays. And then I'll be back on Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, with week number 4, Forza Spec Racing Series. Y'all have a good one. If you didn't catch all the action here tonight, again, you'll be able to see things here on demand here on the channel. Just go to the past broadcast section of the channel, and then, of course, you can catch all, or not all, but most of my prior FM4 broadcasts here on the YouTube link that's provided there in the chat. Y'all be happy, be healthy, be kind to one another. Until we see each other again next time, adios, farewell.